Hey guys, this is Gus from the Garage Specialist. Have you ever wondered how your Honda Civic Si engine K20 works? We have gone through the trouble of pulling the engine out just to show you guys how everything works. Alright, we're going to get things started with the transmission. We have a 6-speed LSD out of the Civic Si. This is the shifter assembly. This is what allows you to shift your car into gear. This small part right here, this is called the slave cylinder. This is responsible for disengaging the clutch. This is the clutch kit. And this is the pressure plate. After removing the pressure plate, we have the clutch. As you can see, this one's very worn out and it needed to be replaced. And this is the flywheel. This is what transfers the engine power to the transmission. Now as far as the engine, we're going to start off with the intake. This is what allows the engine to suck in fresh air. After the air has entered the intake, it's going to come through to what's known as the throttle body. When you press your accelerator, this is what's being allowing air to flow into the engine, allowing it to make more power. After it flows through the throttle body, it comes through the intake manifold. The manifold has runners which deliver the air to each individual cylinder. Typically this thing has 2 bolts right here. After you remove these, your cover should just pop right off. Now your fuel comes from the fuel tank through this small line into the fuel rail, and then from the fuel rail it supplies fuel to the fuel injectors. The fuel injectors get power by electricity, which help them open it up when the ECU lets them know, and that supplies fuel to your engine. So it's fuel along with air going into your engine. We will be removing the intake manifold so we could take a better look at the engine and the other components. First, we'll remove the fuel rail. That's held by 2 bolts right here, and it should pop right off. Next, the intake manifold is held by a few bolts here, 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 and here, and same thing underneath. Those are the bolt holes, here, 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 and here at the bottom. This is the top ones, here, 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 and here. Alright, now for the engine. This is the cylinder head. This is the engine block. This holds the intake valves and the exhaust valves. This is where the air rushes in. This enters the actual cylinder head. Okay, on this side we have the starter, which sits underneath the intake. This helps you, when you turn the key, this is what rotates the engine to help it get started. Next up we have this tube, and this is the water pump. This is what circulates coolant throughout your whole engine to keep it nice and cool. This is the alternator. This is what recharges your battery. As we move further down into the engine, we can see the oil pan from here all the way to here. And this stores all the oil, so the engine has to use to keep it lubricated. Now we're taking a look at the front of the engine. This houses this is the valve cover. This is the front cover. Inside the front cover, this is where the timing chain sits. And then this bracket along with this is what makes the engine bolt up to the actual chassis. And on this section, I believe this is where the motor mount sits. And this is your drive belt. This is what runs all the accessories. We're missing the AC compressor, but this is the water pump, this is the alternator. Here we have the back of the engine. This is where the oil filter is, and this is the exhaust manifold. This is the exhaust side. The exhaust travels through the headers. This is considered a header, and then down the exhaust tube onto your exhaust system. This is typically held by 2 bolts with springs on. Alright, on top of the engine we have the dipstick. This is where you check the oil. We have the oil cap. This is where you add oil into the engine. And then once you remove this cover, this has 4 bolts, 10 millimeters I believe. Remove that. You have your spark plug. These actually spark plug coils, and inside the coils it's your spark plugs, and that's what ignites the fuel and the air mixture, allowing you to get combustion. This is what they look like. They're held by 10 millimeters. 10 millimeter bolt. Alright guys, this was a quick overview of your Honda Civic Si engine. I hope this helps you understand what's under your engine.